I want to thank everybody for joining us for what month are we now in? October.
I know,
We're
it's
almost into
November
but
on
we're
Monday.
closing out October and our fall is quickly passing by us. But we are here where several athletes who participated in this past week's Challenged Athlete Foundation San Diego Triathlon Challenge, otherwise known as the Best Day in Tri. It was my first CAF event. It was the Liner Wands' first CAF event. And I think it was the first CAF event for a few of the individuals that have joined us today to kind of talk about their experience and what it was like. But we'd really like to kick off today's session by giving you a little bit of the CAF highlight reel to kind of give you a taste and a flavor of what we experienced over this past weekend. So let it play, Allie.
Here I go.
We are here at the San Diego Triathlon Challenge. It's great to see everybody back after a long 2 years. It's going to have an awesome day, so we'll see you out there.
This is my first CAF Triathlon Challenge, and it was awesome.
Yay.
Honestly, the biggest reason I'm out here is because when I was a kid and I was learning to run, I didn't have anybody to kind of look up to and model myself after or learn from. I think these kids are so much farther ahead than I even was at their age, and now that I can be here and hopefully inspire them and teach them something and kind of bring up the next generation, that's what it's all about.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome people that we know that are here. Casually Tori, casually Melissa, again featured.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job of capturing the essence of the weekend. And I don't know about all of you, but just seeing all the kids and how much fun they were having, like definitely pulled on my heartstrings a little bit. Not that us adults didn't have a great time too, but really being able to see them be able to relate to other individuals with similar disabilities and really be able to kind of inspire each other and empower each other to push hard through whatever event that they were participating in. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of an emotional weekend for me. I'll share my experience a little later, but I want to get to some of our guests here today. So Breezy is not new to the Challenged Athlete Triathlon Challenge. She has been one of CAF's kind of sweethearts for many years. You've been involved in CAF since what year, Breezy?
Oh, I think it was 2013. That's the best of my knowledge, I believe, or it was possibly 2012. It's been like almost 10 years of being part of this. Yeah.
And what has it been like being part of the CAF tribe and family?
It's not even easy to put into words the amount of love and the amount of just, yeah, love for all the people in the CAF family. It really is like a huge family, having everyone around me. Like I've grown up here from a little tiny baby with no hair, like just coming off of chemotherapy and having my leg amputated. And I met CAF and I was never afraid. Like I never had to think, what if I can't do anything with the rest of my life? Like I'm an amputee and that scares me. I right away met other amputees who inspired me to get going again. And I just had this family that was always pushing me and inspiring me. I mean, you're around these people, you're around these kids who let nothing stop them. And it just keeps you strong and they're there for you when you need them.
Absolutely amazing. So you shared a little bit about your story. Do you mind sharing a little bit more in depth with us and kind of where you've progressed from those early days to where you are now, what your sport of choice is, and what you participated in this past weekend?
Yeah, so when I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. It's a rare form of bone cancer. And I started chemotherapy. And as I was going through the options of what we could do to get the cancer out, one of them was amputation. And I was actually showed a video of Sarah Reinertsen, who's a big part of CAF. She was crossing the Kona finish line. And I said to myself, like, that's what I want. If I can do that, if I can be active and still live a full life, I want that, because amputation was a great way to still be active and fully get the cancer out and ensure it wasn't going to come back. So I was very thankful to have a successful amputation, to be able to get back into life quickly. And CAF granted me my first running leg a couple months into learning how to walk. And my dad just asked me out of the blue if I felt like doing Wildflower Triathlon, which is here in California. And I had no idea what triathlon was. So I just said, like, sure, let's do it. Sounds fun. We only had, though, 10 days to train. And I still hadn't learned how to bike again with one leg. I was just learning to run for like 2 weeks. So we literally just like in 10 days just rushed and figured everything out. And I was like, okay, we're doing this. And it was really, really hard, but so rewarding crossing that finish line. I just had no idea what was in store. And so I kept on going with triathlon. And I remember when I was seeing Sarah do it, I thought, okay, well, she was the first above knee amputee female to do an Ironman. Maybe I could be the youngest. And I said that in front of a lot of people, and everyone thought that was really cool because I was so young having that goal. So now I am training for an Ironman with my whole family, and Ironman Arizona is the one we're doing, and it's less than a month away.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank
And what an inspiration Sarah is to all of us.
I know. She's such a blessing. She was here at my house when I got home from my surgery, my amputation. She was here for me. She showed me all of her legs, showed me how to switch them. Like, that's what it means to have such an amazing community wrap their arms around you. I was never alone.
What an important message. So what does training look like for you these days?
It looks like just getting my lazy butt off the couch every single day. It's nice that I'm doing it with my family. All of my siblings and my dad are doing it. And so it's actually really great to have this like team sport where it's like a personal thing you're doing, but you also have so many people around you. And we've done 2 half Ironmans. So we've just been training. Yeah.
Well, we are wishing you so much luck. I lost my leg in 2013, and that's kind of when I came on the scene in social media. And I've been able to kind of watch your journey over the last 10 or so years. And it's been truly remarkable. And you should be proud of all the progress that you've made. And I'm just really excited that you're here to share your story and your journey and what this weekend was like for you. Yeah. And we'll definitely be rooting for you for your first Ironman. Should we call it Iron Woman?
Yeah.
Hey,
we would love to reconnect after and see what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to interject really quickly. First of all, hi Breezy, you're awesome. Sarah's in the other room on a call. Otherwise, she would love to be here and wish you well and say hi. But I wanted to know, just for everyone, everyone's benefit, like how they can track you. So like if you could give like the race date and stuff, and I assume I've done it before, but I'm a little rusty. Maybe you could just tell people how to do that.
Yeah. So, okay, let me double check.
Like, do you have your bib number and all that good stuff or no?
I don't know my number, but the race day is the 21st of November, and you could get an Ironman app. They have the app. So if you could just look up the Tempe, Arizona race, you could type in my last name, which is Bochenek, Bochenek, and you could find me. And then you could track me the day of, and it'll go through all my transition times and like make a little noise when I'm going places.
Awesome. We had a really great question pop up in the chat. What is an Ironman?
An Ironman?
And what does it entail?
An Ironman is basically an insane triathlon for crazy people. Somehow I'm doing it, but an Ironman is, yeah, swim, bike, run. It's a 2.4 mile swim followed by a 112 mile bike, then finished with a 26.2 mile run, which is a marathon. And you just do it back to back. you have 17 hours to do it, and there's a lot of people out there, and then there's also a lot of people out there cheering on the sidelines. It's a fun event to be at. It's cool.
Ollie looks like she wants to take a nap just hearing about it.
She's like, no, thank you.
No, like good for that is just the pure thought of having to do all of that movement in like one day. I'm just like, I'm out. I would go cheer you on 100%, but I can barely like run on a treadmill for more than 10 minutes, and that's just my cross to bear, I guess. So I don't know, but that's amazing, and I can't wait to track you. So I got it down. It's in the chat, November 21st. First. Everybody, make sure you guys cheer on Breezy, and I'm sure you'll be documenting something on Instagram too, if everybody has an Instagram. So make sure you follow her there. But I would never. But good for you, Breezy. So
and I have one last question for you. So we have some members that have joined us, and also people that will be watching our community social after the fact once it's posted on our Instagram. For anybody that is nervous about participating in a CAF event, like what advice can you give to them? Because the CAF grant cycle is still open until November 5th. Mm-hmm. So there is still time to get your CAF grant in for that piece of adaptive exercise equipment that you need, a training grant, or even a travel grant to go to next year's CAF Triathlon Challenge. So what advice would you give to those newcomers that are a little unsure?
Yeah, I guess what I would say is really, it's so amazing when you get outside your comfort zone. Like what I've always said, my motto is, if you get outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. And I think that these grants that CAF gives are life-changing, and they help you so much to get back into sport. But more than that is the community and the family. So coming to these events is hard. It's easy. It's not easy to like step into this new world, but it's so worth it, because you're gonna meet people who are just gonna be there for you, love you, and literally push you to do greater things for the rest of your life. So it's the grants that can help you, and it's also the incredible community.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and we will be rooting you on for your Ironman.
Thank you.
So next up, we have Jason Malvar, and I got to meet Jason right after he finished and crossed the finish line of his first triathlon, and it was a very memorable date for you. So would you mind sharing with us kind of your journey to getting to CAF and what that moment meant for you and what that special date signified?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Jason Malvar. End of last year in October, I got into a really bad motorcycle accident, and through those couple of days talking with different surgeons, amputation was the best option for me, especially with all the different sports that I used to do prior. And so that was definitely a tough decision, but went with all the recommendations and had that surgery in October of last year. So from there, it was difficult because I had broken my arm and also, lost my leg. And so couldn't really bear weight on that left side. So from that point until December, I was kind of just hopping around from day to day, and just was always thinking about, okay, how am I going to get back into sports? Am I ever going to be able to do this again? And once I finally received my prosthesis in December, I thought, okay, and I started walking on it and started getting a hang of it. I remember that first day in the office with my prosthetist. He was like, okay, I kind of know you. I want you to take it easy, learn how to work through this. And once he left the door, my family was there, and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to try running this. And they're like, no, don't try to run. And I tried, and it didn't really end very well. It was a lot harder than I thought. But from there, it just, gave me a lot more hope, knowing that, okay, I can do this. And then seeing all the videos from a lot of different challenge athletes. I spent a lot of time on the internet, just kind of seeing everybody's journey, what they were able to accomplish, and, people with similar sports that I used to do. And it really inspired me. And so and through that research, I found CAF. And so cycling and mountain biking was something that I was really passionate about. So I set this goal of, okay, in March, I'm going to meet up with them because that's when they decided to do their first meetup in San Diego for a cycling event. And then from there, my other goal was, all right, I want to do this 100-mile century bike ride. But, you know, going to that first event with CAF, just seeing everybody in person, that was the first time that I've really kind of gone outside the house. I felt really sheltered and didn't really want to talk to anybody, but just seeing everybody just really inspired me. I remember that first day when our coordinator started talking about the agenda for the day. You know, I had my sunglasses on, my helmet, and I just got super emotional. Just knowing that, you know, I'll be able to do this again. So did that and trading with them for a couple of weeks and decided, okay, I want to try to do this triathlon instead of the century ride. It was something that I've always wanted to do, but I never trained for swimming. I'm terrible at swimming. I don't really like running, but I wanted to just set up this stretch goal. And so signed up for that event and really didn't train much at all because I live in San Diego and just mountain biking and cycling weather has been so great. Like I've been wanting to do that just every weekend. And so the month before the triathlon, I was like, all right, I should probably try to get in the water and see how hard it is swimming. And I went in the pool at first, and after maybe like a 1/10 of a mile, I was just so exhausted. And then, so I found this swim bubble on Amazon. I was like, all right, I'm going to strap this around me. And I basically used that for the entire race, like stopping every 1/10 of the mile. I remember folks on the paddle boards were like, are you all right? Do you need any help? And I was like, no, I'll be fine. And they asked, oh, well, can you tread water pretty well? And I was like, no, not really. But, you know, I just was so determined to just complete that challenge, and just having all the people around me just help push me to, you know, finish that goal. Running was also another challenge for me because, you know, CAF, they had actually granted me a running leg, and my prosthesis wasn't really ready yet. I was having some sort of pains with it. So I decided just to try to run with my regular daily running foot. And the folks at Oster, they're like, you probably don't want to do that. It'll break because it's a low profile foot. And I thought, no, I'm just going to try to do it anyways. So they actually put on an older foot that I had and, you know, kind of walked most of it, ran parts of it. But yeah, October was this month is just, you know, it was such a big moment for me because I really wanted to push myself to acclimate myself back into the sports that I love. And I feel that, you know, CAF and the community around me has really helped me to reach my goals. I do need to surround myself with like-minded athletes and people because it helps, you know, prevent me from not doing anything that day or deciding to stop early. So that extra motivation from the community, yeah, I really owe a lot to them, and I'm looking forward to all the new events coming up in the future.
Awesome. And what a way to celebrate your 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
With the triathlon. That was pretty impressive. And I happened to catch you right after you crossed the finish line with your family surrounding you and cheering for you. And it was just such a powerful and emotional moment. And I just feel really blessed that I was able to witness that. And I want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your experience and your story with all of us and letting people know that just start somewhere. And even if you don't have all the parts figured out, you could figure them out along the way. We had another great question in the chat. What is a swim bubble? So I was wearing one too. I had like rescue electrolytes in case I needed them stuffed in my swim bubble.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's a good idea. So this swim bubble is basically this bag that you inflate, and it has like a little tube in there, and you can close it once you do it. And then it also has a strap and that goes around your waist, and it just tethers off of you. So every couple of strokes, I would grab onto and just kind of hold on to it, and it would just keep me afloat from, having to tread. I also worried that if this thing pops, it'll probably be in big trouble. So I was thinking about getting just like a collection of them just floating behind me. But I thought maybe that might be distracting to the other athletes. So I just went with one. Luckily, it held through and was still holding air at the end. But yeah, I think for me, not being a good swimmer, but really wanting to take on the triathlon, it helped me to achieve that with some support there that I could do on my own as well.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. We have one more athlete that was at the CAF Challenge, Miss Tori Mugo. And Tori, for those that don't know you, do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, what inspired you to join this year's CAF, and what events you participated in this weekend?
Like you heard, my name is, I go by Tori, but my name is Victoria Mugo. I am a 2 years amputee now. So I got amputated 2 years ago, got pneumonia, and then the infection was too much for my body. So my body reacted negatively to the infection, and so I was septic. Then went into multiple organ failure. I had lung failure, kidney failure, and eventually, because of the intervention that was brought in to save my life, I ended up losing my limbs because sepsis, it prevents your blood from flowing throughout your body. So the intervention for that is to take blood out from your body, bring it back in. But when they bring it back in there, of course, they are oxygenating it. So when it comes back to your body, it's only localized to your primary organs. So my limbs were affected with that intervention because my blood was not flowing to them. But I'm grateful for being here, being only 2 years, and have been able to participate in various sports. Before I came into the CAF event this year, I done a few 5Ks, and I did Tough Mudder, Colorado this year. It was my 4th Tough Mudder, but the first as an amputee. It was the hardest thing I've ever done because I had only trained almost just the same as Jason. I got my blades this year, and before we got the right fit where it wasn't painful, blah, 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 it was July, beginning of July, and middle of July is when I did the Tough Mudder, 10.5 miles obstacle race. Of course, I didn't do all the obstacles, but I did the full 10 miles. Blistering was my crutch the whole time because I did blister at the end of it, really bad. And I am grateful for being introduced to Line Award because maybe I wouldn't have sweat issues. I haven't tried them on yet because this event was my first CAF event and I did the relay. So I did blister because of the sweating. So I'm giving my body a rest a little bit and then try and run again, but use the samples I was given by Line Award to see if I'll come back with, like, yay, don't have any sweat issues anymore. So that has always been my problem because with the prosthetics, I mean, you do get to run, but I've noticed that the longer you run, the more you sweat, and the long races are my jam. I don't like short races. I don't feel accomplished with them. I like the long races because that's usually my me time. So I'll come back, and present what the Line Award has done for me when I, give them a test drive. But I'm glad to be here. This CAF event was awesome. I promised myself that I will keep coming and keep dragging people that are amputees to it because there's still a family out there that don't know about it. But my first experience with them was amazing. The kids were my favorite part of the event. I mean, those little people just get on those prosthetics and they just move. They don't really care what else. They're just ready to move. So that mindset was very inspiring. And then coming to meet Sarah, and then hearing about Breezy's next Ironman, I'm kind of thinking, maybe I should do this. I know it's nuts, but I'm telling you, just like Breezy said, I mean, once you get through it and you get to that finish line, it's amazing to push yourself like that and to get that amplified, what do you call it? Amplified way of life. I mean, the CAF family, amputee family, I think it's the greatest choice I made for me, because it was very hard losing my limbs at 38 years old. Now I'm 40 now, but it was super hard. I mean, 38 years I had lived with all my limbs, and then now come to think that I'm supposed to start my life again all over. And I have a 6-year-old, so it was like, okay, I think I need to get myself together, but it wasn't easy. You need to get into that mental mindset, and of course, when you're around family, like I am in right now with CAF and so many other amputees, I feel like I'm in a good place, and I'm excited about what is ahead of me. So, thank you for this opportunity, for being here and to just talk to people that go through the same thing that I go through. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Tori. So we think an Ironman might be in the future for you.
I am really thinking about it. Next year, I'm planning to do the triathlon. Just like Jason, I became afraid of the water. I didn't want to do anything in the water. I just saw myself getting in the water and just going, oh, way down there. I did the swimming clinic when I came to the event this last weekend, and I think my confidence started coming back to it. I am gonna try the swim bubble when I'm here, because whoever trained me at the event has a few people here in Colorado that do swim training lessons, so they are connecting me to that. So I was happy to be able to connect in that way. So that is where I'm going to put my efforts in, is to learn how to swim with the swim bubble, without the swim bubble. I don't care. I just want to finish it. And then, of course, the biking. My only problem is to know how to adapt it to where I can actually hold a bike to ride. So there's that. I think I have the endurance for running. I don't have any problems there. I just need to get the sweating part down, because sitting and removing of prosthetics and drying them off and put them back on, and I have the hang of it, but I prefer not to do it. So if I can get away with that, I would love that. But yes, Ironman is my next. It's on the board as a goal for me. Yes.
And they have special arm prosthetics that help you grip the bike.
Yes. I have one that actually, fortunately, I went to Dallas for a different project where you get the arm prosthetics, and the way they made them, I think they have a wiring that can help me grip. Yes. So I'm gonna do a test drive on those and see if that would be my end game, instead of making so many modifications on a bike, because of course I have to know how to brake with the bike also. So there's that challenge, but we'll get through it. A lot of people have got through it, so I'll figure my way around that too.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and we will be on the lookout to see what's next for Tori.
Yeah.
So did we have any other athletes? I think those were all of our guest speakers for the day. I'll briefly share my experience, because it was my first time, and bravo to everybody who attempted like the longer races. I feel like I was just dipping my foot in the water, just doing the swim. But for me, I have a condition called hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So my joints are super hypermobile, and I can dislocate. So although I have a running blade and I have enjoyed running, pounding on my residual limb isn't necessarily good for me. So I've mentally had to take a step back and find lower impact activities so that I can preserve my body for the long term. So I love CrossFit. I love weightlifting, but I was introduced to swimming through my CrossFit coach. And one of my friends dared me to come and join her for the 1 mile swim. I had never done an open water swim before. I was a little nervous. Friends and family are like, aren't you afraid of sharks or like things in the water in the ocean? And I said, well, I said, you know, I've already lost one. You just dangle the other one in front. It's not so bad. But there was a stingray during the race that swam under me, but that's where like mindset and yoga breathing and kind of slowing your thought process down kind of got me over the stingray and continue on the course. I too used a swim bubble, kind of as like, it's that little extra safety net that you know that if you run into trouble, you could always grab it. And for me, I put a whole bunch of extra electrolytes in it because my biggest issue swimming, especially in the cold water, was spasming. And this was the first swim that I didn't spasm. So I finally got the nutrition, the training, electrolytes, fueling correct for this race. And it felt amazing. My first open water swim was Labor Day weekend. And it was kind of in a choppy water. I live in Beverly, just one town north of Salem. Everybody knows Salem because of the witches. And it's kind of crazy now because it's Halloween. But Labor Day weekend, I went out in the Beverly Harbor and I did my first 1 mile and I did it in 54 minutes. And for me, I'm like, all right, that's a decent time. Like I'm satisfied. I know I could do the distance. I'm ready to go out to CAF. And day of race, I went, well, before the day of the race, I went to the open water swim clinic and all of the techniques that they taught us to really make crisp left-hand turns, to be able to spot the buoys, and then endurance and pacing and breathing really helped me. And on game day, I just went for it. And I finished in 33:25. So I dropped my time from Labor Day, 20 minutes. And I just felt like I flew through the water and it was the most incredible feeling. And you can see my goofy smile as I'm crawling across the finish line. But for a 41-year-old, it was absolutely amazing to feel that sense of accomplishment and to feel that, yes, I am aging, but I am still an athlete and I can still do this. So one of my highlights of being out there, and this is the magic of CAF, is you get to network and meet so many amazing individuals while you're at these events. I was introduced to the Paralympic sprint kayak coach who invited me out for a trial kayak the Monday after the weekend. And I had a 1-hour training session with the Paralympic sprint kayak coach. And for me, kayaking is my pure joy. I just feel one with the water and truly at peace when I'm kayaking through the ocean, a lake, a stream, whatever it may be. That's my happy place, is in my kayak. I live on the water. I try to get out as often as possible. And I never knew that sprint kayaking was a Paralympic sport. So I was introduced to the head coach and I am putting in a grant for my speed kayak and all the adaptations that I need. And I will be training, hopefully, for the 2024 Paralympics for sprint kayaking. So again, opportunities and networking. There's sports that you might not even know are a possibility for you. And it's such low impact. It's perfect for the rest of my body. It will give my leg a break, but I can still use that upper body strength that I've gained through CrossFit and feel like an athlete again. So you never know. They have funded over 103 sports for individuals, and you just never know what sport may be the best fit for you. And I saw in the comments from Beth, is there a master's division? There isn't necessarily a master's division, but I can say that there are people of every age range that were participating in all of the events. And what the coach told me on Monday was that there are some sports where age really isn't a factor. And kayaking tends to be one of those. So that gave me a little extra bit of encouragement to know that here's this crazy goal and I'm going to go chase it after a crazy goal of doing an open water swim, but I have now made the CAF Triathlon Challenge a date on my calendar that I will attend annually. The energy, the vibe, the community, the support was just so overwhelming. Honestly, on Tuesday, I almost felt this little sense of like a letdown coming back to everyday life. And I see people nodding. It's like you're surrounded by so much positivity and this like enhanced sense of community and love. And then you go back to your everyday life. But it's important to remember what that feeling is like when you're having a tough day, and to have that fuel you as you're training for the next event or for the next opportunity to get together with the tribe. And I think while it's been a very challenging 2 years with a global pandemic, going virtual has enabled us to connect with so many people near and far. So take advantage of all of the virtual opportunities to connect with members of the community. We have our monthly socials. We also do a bunch of Instagram lives. There, if you go to the Amputee Coalition website, there are over 100 support groups that have gone virtual. So if you're having a rough day, if you need that little extra pick-me-up, go check out all the virtual opportunities that there are out there. There's also virtual sports opportunities, using apps like Strava to be able to track your progress and have people cheer you on as you're competing are amazing as well. And for those of you that would like to experience the Triathlon Challenge, it is not too late to put your CAF grant in. It's due November 5th. Please put in a grant. They raised millions of dollars at this year's San Diego Triathlon Challenge, and they wanted to go to deserving athletes. So no matter what your ability level is, if you're just beginning or if you're a seasoned athlete, there are grants available for you. And if you have any questions, reach out to the staff. They have been so helpful in being able to answer any questions that I've had or any of the athletes that I'm working with have in their grant process. So definitely go check it out. And we are doing really well on time. So we actually have time for questions for all of our panel members today. So do we have any comments,
Kyle
questions?
might be here, Melissa. If Kyle's on the phone.
My name is Kyle. A year ago, experience that so many of us on this call has experienced, whether that was like an injury or an accident or an illness. And I was downhill mountain biking in Angel Fire, New Mexico, and I lost control. And on the last turn, I flew into a tree and my left leg snapped in half right at the femur. And what was crazy this past year, you know, Melissa, we started talking about this. I kept reflecting on like, why, like what was the vehicle to help me recover this year? And I've finally been able to just put into words is pursuing a purpose that is so much greater than our pain. And I think the part that resonated with me the entire weekend is, especially at the CAF event, is like when most of us that are on our bikes or we're swimming or we're running, like that's the one place I don't feel disabled. When I'm walking down the street to a local coffee shop or standing in line at the grocery store, I often do feel disabled. But when I'm pursuing a sport that I love so deeply, it fuels my soul and makes me feel that I'm actually free. And so for the triathlon, it was I set a goal 1 year ago, is that I would do a race of some sort. And I had no clue what that race was going to be. A year ago when I was in the hospital, I set some clear goals of like, how do I get my life back after this accident? And I said 1 year I want to do a race. And Liz, being Liz per usual, sends me a text that, hey, you should come to San Diego. It's in 3 weeks. And I've been swimming, I've been biking, that's always been my passion. And I said, okay, let's do this. And so ended up participating in the 1 mile open water swim, and then as well as the 41 mile bike ride. And to be very honest with you, I was scared shitless because I've been training as a cycler. I've been mainly focusing just on flats, just because in my mind I was like, I don't know if I can do hills. So I cycled just on one leg. I clip in on my right leg, and my residual limb just honestly just sits there. And I've often been just really afraid of hills because in my mind I was like, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not strong enough. I don't have enough balance, whatever it may be, and all of these thoughts going through my mind. And we get to the start of the race on the bike section, and I was like, I'm just going to do 25 miles. And I found this girl named Emily, and I said, hey, will you ride with me? I want to ride with someone. And we're on these 25 miles and realizing the whole course is hills. And throughout that ride, being able to discover I can do this. I am a lot stronger than I think I am. And this past year, just putting so much work into my recovery showed that I can do it. And so I'm on the ride. I run into this guy named Wayne. It's about mile 15. It's at the food stop. And I'm riding with Wayne, Doug, and a guy named Kent. And Wayne is pacing with me, and he asked me, he said, Kyle, are you doing the 25? Are you doing the 40? I said, as right now, I'm doing the 25 because I heard Mount Soledad is a beast. And we get over this hill after we get to the top, and he said, Kyle, no, you're not doing the 25. You're doing the 41. Because what you just did, outpacing most people on two legs, you can do this, and I'll stick with you. And the one thing that was showed me throughout the entire time at CAF is the only way that we can really overcome our challenges is through community. Being surrounded by individuals that understand your story, that understand your pain, but also that's willing to kick you into gear and call you out on your shit and say, you can do this. There's no excuses. Like, you have every bit of it in you to be able to break barriers and get across that finish line, accomplishing all the different aspects of the races. And so to be surrounded by individuals that are, whether they're new amputees or they've been amputees for years, or individuals from different walks of life with different disabilities, was probably the most beautiful thing, because it was the first time to be surrounded by individuals that were just like me and breaking barriers.
I just wanted to drive home. I mean, a lot of you who have done the event already know this, but just for anyone who might watch it after the fact or whatever, it's like, it's really, I understand we're all competitive, and it's great. I mean, it's great if you want to go out and do the race. If you want to win the race, you want to do it as fast as you possibly can. You've set a goal, you want to break a certain time. That's all fine and dandy. But like, just know that like most of the people who are out there just want to be there and participate in the race, and they may have a personal goal, they may not, and they may achieve that or not, but it's just being there is 90% of it. Like Breezy says, like just experiencing the community, participating in the event. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it sound like adaptive sport is all about participation and kumbaya. Like, I know you guys are fierce and you throw down, and it's like, Sarah, I live with Sarah, and it's like, you don't have to tell me. So I get it, but just know that it's much, much, much more than that. And everyone gets a medal, and it's great, but they do have categories, and you can be top in your category, if it exists, and they do have, first through third, and acknowledge that. But so it's really something for everyone, whether you're like fiercely competitive or just want to come out and it's your first time back, at post injury, and you just want to come out and meet people and just be part of the day. So that's all I wanted to say there.
If any of our guests have any questions for us, or any of the panelists that graciously donated their time to come join us today.
Looks like Corey was first, and then Beth. Yeah.
Corey?
Yes. My question was, I received a grant this year. So is there still a cap on allowing us to reapply until 2023, or can we still apply now?
What was your grant for?
The blades.
Okay. You could apply for equipment every 3 years, but you could apply for either a training grant to pay for coaching, for gym fees, or any training associated fees, or you can apply for a travel grant to pay for your stay for next year's CAF or whatever athletic event you want to sign up for. So you can apply for those grants in between the equipment grants.
Okay.
And then 3 years from now, if there's another piece of specialized equipment that you would like to apply for, you could apply for it then.
Okay, good. And I'll do my next CAF, my next half try next year. I'm definitely doing that.
Awesome. Thanks, Tori. Beth, you had a question?
I have a couple. I think if you want training, is it the minimum is $600? Is that true? That you have to put in for 600, or can you put in for less if you know your training is not going to be that much?
That is a very, very specific question. And I would field you towards the CAF staff because they've now defined different categories this year. So their grants are becoming more organized for the application process. And every year I see new categories popping up. So I would ask them specifically any questions you have about caps or categories.
Okay. Second question is, I am looking for a swim trainer and we only have 7 days left. So if I don't find one before the grant is due, can I put in for training not knowing how much it's going to cost or who it's going to be? And how do I do that on the application?
So you can find out what the average rate is. I hired a swim trainer locally, Beth, so I could talk to you offline about what that was per session. Different trainers have different training rates, but there's about an average rate for most adaptive trainers. And you can put that in as an estimate. And then if you need to modify that, you could be in communication with CAF if you need to alter that throughout the year. So maybe you say it's $100 a session, but it's really $150. Maybe you have less sessions and you're able to use the amount of the grant. Or maybe you find somebody that has a lower rate and you're able to use more sessions for the total cap of the grant.
All right, thank you.
Well, I want to thank everybody. I think today was really a moving community social. Everybody really spoke from their heart and shared extraordinary experiences that they had with an unbelievable community and organization. We've been using the word CAF a lot, but for anybody that's watching that doesn't know what CAF stands for, it's Challenged Athlete Foundation, and you can check them out on www.challengedathletes.org. Remember, CAF grants are open till November 5th. So please, it takes about a day or two to get everything ready to put your grant in. You're going to need a letter from a physician or a prosthetist stating that you do have the disability that you state that you have. You'll need a letter of recommendation. You'll need quotes, and there's also a few essay questions. So give yourself some time to put the application in, and we want to see all of you at next year's San Diego Triathlon Challenge. I want to thank all of our panelists for taking the time to join us today, for the Linerwan team, and so many of our avid supporters of the Linerwan community for coming to support us today. Come and join us next month for our community social. As always, it is the 4th Friday of the month at noon, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Thanks,
everyone.
Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.